Hey guys, here we go with the last shave from the Declaration Grooming sample set that I bought. And this is Son et Lumiere. It's French. It means sound and light. And so we will talk more about that later. The blade is going to be the Kai. Peter made a comment recently, and he was thinking about the razor I have been using and trying to put some blades through and seeing which ones I find are the best with this Wolfman WR1. It's a 46 or 48, I can't remember which, I think it's 46 gap. And so it's pretty mild. And I'm going to try the Kai in it. I thought it was a great suggestion. And we'll see what happens. Now this one has about 13 or so shaves on it, so it may... we'll see how that goes. This is a High Mountain White Badger brush from, and I've had it soaking in water, as you can see, and it is super soft. I really, really enjoy it. It is from the Shave Market. Had a group buy, I assume, at some point in 2013. And I believe the handle was designed by Frilot. And it looks really nice, but most importantly, I like this knot. It was a pretty inexpensive brush for me to test out this knot, and I'm really glad I did. I like the Elite Manchurian knot as well, and I like the High Mountain White. So I'm really fond of their Badgers. Okay, let's load up. I'd probably rate them a little higher than even Declaration Grooming, because so many of those Badger brushes have tons of backbone and are just way more dense than this brush. And that's just, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my own preference. And they also are cheaper. We've got this Kai blade. Kai is a funky one because it has no writing on the blade. And let's put it in the Wolfman. And these are my markings to indicate that I act as a little signature, because I do plan on seeing how many shaves I can get off of this Kai blade. It'll take me a while as I have it in a rotation, but we'll see what happens. And we'll take the soap, Sound and Light, Son et Lumiere. And since the A is French, in the middle there it's the word et, which is and, et. So it looks like et, but it's pronounced a. Now this is a softer base. I used Opulence yesterday, and it was a much more firm base, and it required almost twice as much soap as I've been using lately. And it gave me half as much lather, so that was quite a difference than the other samples I've had. So I'm going to smear that in the bottom of my bowl, and I'll be right back. As I finish this up, we can talk about the scent a little bit. Scott at Declaration Grooming says on his page that this one is a distant cousin, a petrichor-esque scent to Bangarang, whereas Bangarang is a rainy adventure in the woods. This one is a drizzly autumn walk through a city, a clean city. So we're not talking about a dirty, funky smelling city. A drizzly autumn walk through a clean city. So let's just see if that's what we get from it as well. It has notes of leaves, pavement, and rain. So pretty simple. All right, I'm not getting very much in the soap right now. And, you know, just let me get just a little bit more of this soap. It'll give me a little bit more scent, but it will also make sure that I have plenty of lather, and I just don't want to have the trouble I had yesterday Probably won't, because this is softer, so it seems to be more like its other friends that played more nicely. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to get my face wet right before we start working that brush on the soap. Also, going to smell the soap again. Yeah, I do kind of get that petrichor. Yeah, and a little bit of a sweet hint that I think may be a call to the leaves scent. But man, it's faint. It's not jumping up into my nose. I'm having to chase it down. So this High Mountain White has a little bit more backbone than the silver tip, than many silver tips. But the tips are not quite as luxuriously bunny soft as most silver tips. And so it's a trade-off. And here's the thing. The backbone really makes the brush act kind of the way I want it to. And so I'm prepared to sacrifice a little bit of softness because the tips are still very, very soft. And so it's a difference of, well, a silver tip might give you a 95 softness tip, and this is giving you a 92. You know, it's just a slight difference. People still have to report it, you know, and talk about it, but it's just not, to me, not a big deal. I have both, and I like shaving with silver tips too. I'm really enjoying the High Mountain White. The Sterling's High Mountain White is wonderful. This one is really good. The Umo High Mountain White is, I'm not liking it quite as much, but it needs more uses to make sure. And do I have a Zenith High Mountain White? Or is that just a Badger? I can't remember which. Oh yeah, see, we are just starting out here. We haven't really added any water yet. We just working with the water that was in the brush, and we have plenty of lather. So my addition of the tiny little bit was unnecessary. I know we're probably going to add 3 teaspoons of water, so I just went ahead and shot in 1.5 teaspoons just so we can kind of move along. We don't have to put, this soap doesn't mind if we put in water a little on the quick side. Man, it's so light. The scent strength is so light here. Now I've got 2 teaspoons of water in the lather. And let's go ahead and do another half, so 2.5. Recently I've been using that Declaration Grooming B9A brush in 24mm. I want to take a break from it because it's got a lot of backbone. This is just the right amount of backbone for me, which is very easy splay, just kind of medium to medium soft backbone, and it's so comfortable. Feels luxurious. And that lather is coming together really nice. Nice. So now we're looking at 3.5 teaspoons of water added. Kind of a short handle, but its shape is enough where I can hold it pretty easily with this saddle area here, this valley right here. And then if I need extra support while working the lather, I can extend my finger up and have a little bit more control. Because these big knots that splay a lot, they can sometimes drag a little bit more through the wet lather. Ideally it would be longer, but the handle, but it was an inexpensive way to try the High Mountain White. And I love the coloring. The pour on this is just amazing. Red and black and gray. It's black and gray with the gray kind of having a silver lustrous quality about it. It's a slight translucence in the resin. And then there's a red layer that looks like a thread weaving between those colors. It's really neat. All right, let's go. Let's just use it. I'm gonna get my face wet. Okay. Big brush, big splay, kind of like that Sterling High Mountain White I've used the last couple weeks. Got that guy in and really enjoyed him. So might be good to compare that High Mountain White with this one. They both have kind of big monster splays. Let's maybe do a comparison and see about the tip softness of each one, you know, that sort of thing. Cool of Sterling to offer options for people like me who don't always want to go with really crowded, dense badgers. And these tips aren't treated nearly as much as the two-band brushes. So we've got a nice layer laid down here, but as always I like to keep working it a little bit to have it absorb into my face a little bit, into my skin. Also does a good job of cleaning my oily skin. Some guys don't like to work in the splay like I do. Here's the splay, where it's kind of like that. And then here's painting. Some guys just stick with painting to make their lather. To me, it takes a lot longer to kind of mix the lather up, you know. If you're a face latherer and you just stick with painting, I guess that's what you have to do if you have a really stiff brush. If you like the painting, then maybe that's how you deal with a really stiff brush. I kind of alternate, because painting is a way to circulate the lather around in your brush. If you only do splaying strokes, you get a hollow center. But then you switch to painting and you're circulating that lather around. Oh man, this lather feels great. Almost done. Even out the layer here. And there we go. And a little bit extra time on the face like that also means that you make sure that your lather is mixed nice and thoroughly, fewer wet spots, fewer thick dry spots. And that's what I want. All right, let's see how the Kai works in the 46 gap WR1 from Wolfman. Close comb. being held consistently and very firmly by the head. I do sometimes feel it cutting the hairs. I do think, and I think the Kai blade might actually be a little thicker than other blades, just a little bit. So that may help it to feel more solid. But this razor does a great job of clamping down on its blades anyway. Feels pretty consistent. Moves through the hair without really any issues. Not super smooth. I do feel it, but it's not I'm not feeling the edge scraping me or anything like that. I just feel that it's cutting the hairs. Maybe because it is pulling on the hairs just a little bit, but it's in no way any kind of tugging. So much lather I had in my beard, I was able to do quite a bit of, if I wanted to, I could do more touch-ups. As I was rinsing just now, bending down, getting my wet hands all over my face to clean away the suds, I realized that I'm just not getting very much scent from this at all. And it is customary on a light scent for me not to really smell it too much when I'm working and shaving. But then I usually get a pretty good dose of it when I'm down at the sink doing the rinse. It's really light. It's even like a 3 when I've got my 3 out of 10 when I've got my nose in the bowl. So I think this maybe a 4, but really low. Let's see how it feels once I put it on. And I definitely do not have this watered down too much. This is nigh perfect. Man, what a great brush. Just the barest of hints. Down here, just a few inches below the screen, I have the bowl of lather, I have the brush, all supposedly helping to contribute to the scent around my nose, and just, it's so light. This is, right now it really is more like a 1 out of 10. I mean, maybe even a 2, just to say it's not unscented, you know. But I'm really not getting it very much right now with it just on my face. And so therefore, if I'm getting it so little, usually what means is that I can't pick out any petrichor or any leaves, pavement, or rain. A lot of times the rain, an aquatic scent, is something that does jump out pretty clear. And yeah, when I stick my nose in it, I can pick out an aquatic note, and I do like it. It is kind of a rainy, leafy type note. I don't know if I get pavement or not. It's just so light. All right, let's finish up the shave. So the Kai, so far, working pretty well with the Wolfman. With this razor, so many blades have displayed the same pattern where they might give me a little bit of feel on pass number 1, but then second and third pass are just so slick, because I guess it's taken off, you know, good hairs. All right, third pass, plenty of lather, 2-3 more passes extra were generated. Now with this, let's see, this, you know, the Kai blade sometimes is rated really as a really sharp blade. fussy one maybe that kind of treats you poorly if you're not careful, that sort of thing. And sometimes what that can do for me, at least, is slowly build up irritation toward the end of the shave. Let's just see what happens. Very light touch as usual. Now this is my tricky spot, so it's about the only area in my face where I do a little pulling to prepare and to try to help to get the best shave I can here. Very light. And I'm holding it in the center of mass so that it has a little bit of flexibility to it. I've got it under control, but I pretty much don't want to hold it any tighter than what it takes to keep it properly under control. I keep it flexible like that, so it's almost like a built-in shock absorber system, so that I don't dig into skin at any point, that sort of thing. Now, what has been shaved away right here all goes in this direction, but what the soap that remains here kind of comes down this way, and that's why I have to stop right there, switch directions with my razor, and that makes for a nice comfortable shave with pretty much no irritation. Yeah, no sneaky stealth irritation at all. Sometimes, it's really funny, I get a few red spots. Who knows, maybe I'm slightly allergic to some soap ingredients, I don't know. Often I see them, but I don't really feel them. It doesn't feel like irritation or razor burn or anything like that. I believe that the last soap that I used was Opulence, and that was the most intense soap out of the selection that we have in this sampler. This one is the other end of the spectrum, the weakest, definitely. Just if I didn't have my nose in the bowl, it was like a 1 out of 10. So it's really hard to then discern those notes that were carefully put in there. It's possible that some of the ingredients in here could cause a larger than average number of people irritation, and so that could perhaps cause Scott to back off on the scent strength a little bit. He's definitely got his reasons, and this is the scent strength is definitely something he thinks about and considers. So this one's a really weak one for me. It's possible that maybe if this sample sat out for a long time, months, or uncovered for a couple of weeks, maybe it might reduce in scent strength. I'm not really sure how much it would take, but I wouldn't think that that's what was done. The guy who put them together so generously did the work to do all that. I'm sure he scooped them and tightened it up, and locked down those lids. So I think it's just at least this batch is a lightly scented batch, and so it when I'm using it, it does give me hints of kind of rain and leaves. I don't really get the pavement too much unless I really, really search for it in the bowl with the lather right up near my nose. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. Otherwise, I think I'd probably really enjoy this one if it were maybe doubled in scent strength or something like that. Obviously, we could get that scent if we wanted to have it on the aftershave. So maybe Scott is thinking along those lines. But I don't usually buy the set. I don't usually buy the aftershave with the soap because I do want to smell it during the shave. And so that's my thing. All right, now, no matter what aftershave product I want to put on, it is not going to be interfered with or played with. by the existing soap scent that is left on my face because, of course, it's so minimal. And yesterday I used this one, L&L Grooming Southern Paradise, and it is a sweet tea type scent, and I thoroughly enjoyed smelling it as I was getting ready for bed. It was so nice. So I may have to get my hand wet again to help spread this out a little better. Don't need a whole lot. It's quite nourishing. I mean, I don't need to really tell you this in terms of a review because this stuff is so hard to get. It's been discontinued for a few years now. And that's one of the reasons why I'm using it a lot right now, because I don't want it to go bad before I can experience it all. Yeah, there we go. That water was terrific. And so you can see perhaps the whiteness on my face, and that's normal. Sterling balms also do that. It'll absorb. And now this one takes longer than sterling to absorb. I think it's more nourishing, more ingredients, and thicker, more viscous. And but it's not a big deal. Oh man, the scent on this one. Whew. I have the soap on this too, and I just really enjoy it. Terrific. So the Kai blade, pretty good on here. Solid, like I was saying. It does do like some of the other blades, and maybe not move through the hair quite as easily as some. And it could be that this blade is one that doesn't like to go very far in terms of usage. Could 15, or I mean, maybe the peak for this blade is between 2 and 8 uses or something like that. Hard to tell sometimes unless you look back and take really good records about how they feel. All right, well, it's a good suggestion, a very good suggestion. We'll keep playing with other blades with it and just see if any jump out and act a little even nicer than that. All right, here is how much lather I have left over. Definitely a couple of passes could be had by that. Nicely hydrated, just a beautiful, slick lather. Notice we don't have a lot of ridges, sharp ridges at all. A lot of peaks and things like that. Just kind of the one peak where the blobs separated. Wonderful soap base. Really liking it. That's another thing that this sampler has given me a chance to really experience, is continue to work with Milksteak. And I didn't think at first that it would take as much water as it does. And once I figured that out and really gave it what it could take, I was able to get the lathers that I like, and not these lathers that come with some of those heavy moisturizer type soaps. This one has all those moisturizers and kindnesses to your face, but also tremendous lather too. Very slick and able to take quite a bit of water. Oh, that tea scent, it's rich. It is a rich scent. I am enjoying that, and will as I break everything down. Looks like I nailed it in terms of the water and soap ratio this time, and even got it right from the beginning. Sometimes I stop a little short, and it's easier to then add, because it's easier to add water to the lather rather than adding soap, that sort of thing. And so for that quarter teaspoon, we have 3.5 teaspoons of water. Real nice. Very happy with that. This is what this brush looks like after a good towel stropping. A really nice rinse, complete rinse. Got to make sure you get the soap out from the middle of the knot. Very important. It can cause breakage and shedding if the soap is allowed to be in there for long enough. And this is kind of the look of it. The tips are wonderfully soft, and it's got kind of that medium backbone that it keeps the tips toward your face as you're working, instead of letting them just kind of slip over on their sides and be floppy. It's definitely, to me, not a floppy brush. And then so after I slung it out in the sink after the good rinse, I went over on the towel and stropped it and worked it. So it is still a little damp, but as you can see, we don't have any clumping of the tips. because it hasn't been treated like that with the gel tipping type of bleach or whatever agents are used to do that. Excellent. So I did get hints, and I wrote down Scott's my notes on Scott's description of the scent, and I got hints of some of those, but by and large, I'm afraid it was very too light to really enjoy during the shave, as much as I would have liked to. One of the scents in this recent sampler that I've tried had rosewood in it, I believe, and the rose. I wish it had more masculine things along inside of it to kind of step up and help it not to be not to be feminine. And I don't guess it was. I guess it was kind of in neutral ground, maybe, but probably leaning a little bit more toward the feminine. But other than that one, I believe pretty much all the scents that were in this pack, like the Cygnus X1, the Opulence. Well, that was a heavy one, kind of thick with coziness and warmth, that sort of thing. Bangarang, that was one of them, and I really liked most of them, and some, like it was, Epiphenomenon, that was his barbershop. I really thought that one it started out a little bit light, but I was able to kind of perceive some of it as I went on with the shave, and it really did unfold in my mind as something I really enjoyed. I was really happy with it. It was so light, though, I did make it most of the shave without really smelling it too much, and it was toward the end, right before that third pass, that I thought, wait a minute, let's try to get a grasp. Let's try to apprehend this scent while it's here in the bowl and going to be on me. And when I did that, it really enhanced my experience with the shave. The scent was, I could appreciate its sophistication, its cleverness with the way it was put together, a good quality, deft hand in putting these scents in the right ratios that made it very enjoyable and appealing and kind of classic but different, all at the same time. So really, really well done on that one. And so I've been very happy with this batch of samples. It's terrific. Coming soon, one of you guys posted with the Loyal that I was experimenting with how much scooping I needed to do to get it properly, to get a proper lather, and it's quite a bit of product, really. And I think it was even three of these, 3/4 of a tablespoon. This is a quarter tablespoon, quarter teaspoon. So 3/4 of a teaspoon, and it was finally right. Now, I've got a boar brush that's very scrubby, and so I am going to give that guy a good soak in the near future, maybe tomorrow if I can remember, and try another brush load in that soap, maybe for like 2 minutes, and see what that gets me, just for funsies. All right. This is me. I'm Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I really appreciate you watching. I hope that there's been something in this video that is going to help you out in your shaving journey. You guys, take care, stay safe. I wish you all the best. Good night.